fine.
Hello. Other one.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks. Sorry you see my chest for a minute. But
We're having
we're having technical difficulties with my... Hi everybody, we'll be with you in a moment. I lost it. I lost the feed.
Yeah, it keeps bumping us off.
It says there's 3 people.
We're cool. We're cool now. It's back up.
We are?
Yep.
That is so bizarre.
How bizarre.
Facebook is acting weird.
Facebook, you were acting up today.
I think it needs a whooping.
It does, with that pen, too.
With the pen. With the pen. You guys have seen this pen before. Hello, you guys can hear me?
So I do want
Steve,
to...
me. I can see you now. Okay, good. Thanks, Bill. So, we had a few hiccups when we first started.
But it's okay, because we got past them.
We did get past them.
But I did, since we're on the topic of repeating things.
But did they hear us talk about our thing? I don't know.
You could hear the entire time, so I
Oh,
don't...
it was just the
you
thing.
couldn't
Okay.
see, right, exactly.
All right. So what were you going to say?
Oh, well, since we're on the history of repeating things, this is mostly for people who have never watched TWL, or maybe this is your first time ever watching one of our shows.
How's in his hair?
Hairspray. It's Aquanet. So yeah, I'll just make this super short, sweet, and to the point. If you guys did not tune into our super monumental show that happened about a week and a half ago, that'd be really great for you guys to tune into that. You can still rewatch it on their page. It is also...
She's talking about caffeinated conversations after dark, I think.
Yep.
Okay.
And what we did with Mad, that's just mainly for people who have never seen the show, or maybe today's your first day watching TWL. And since we're on the topic of repeating itself, what better way to repeat a great event that took place?
I found something in his hair.
What is it?
I don't know.
Yuck.
So anyways, yes, we did. We had a fantastic evening. Brooke Allen launched her new show, and it started out with yours truly here. And I was on it, Steve was on it. So watch it, because I think you'll enjoy it. And you'll see me, and anytime you see me, it's a good thing. So, and you.
Yes.
What button are you wearing?
I'm wearing,
Why don't you show them?
yes, I sure will. Oh my goodness. So I got new buttons, everybody. They're 586 visual buttons, so they just got my logo on them. You guys can snag this at the website. They're $1. And hi, Brooke. It looks like Brooke is watching.
She is watching.
Hi, Maria.
So we
Wait
just
till
got
you
done
guys.
telling everybody that today is yesterday was National Repeat Day, so we're repeating it today, because you never do National Repeat Day on the day it is. You
Right,
do
of
it the next
course.
day so you can repeat it.
Exactly.
Right? So, we were talking about something in repeat, and Brooke, you just came on, so I wanted you to know that we are talking up Caffeinated Conversations After Dark. If you guys haven't seen it, jump over and see it. You can, not right now, after this show. Or you could watch it here.
Yeah.
On Time Warp, or you could jump over to their Facebook page at Caffeinated Conversations and watch it there. Yeah.
So many cool things, so many monumental things. We're doing some really cool things here in Time Warp.
We are.
Jason and I are potentially talking about maybe holding some taxidermy and oddity classes.
We actually got called by somebody and asking if we did classes.
Yeah,
today.
so
And
that's...
it's always been in my mind being noodled.
It's just the space.
Usually they're here, but it's in my mind being noodled. And so, space constraints.
Yep, space constraints. We want to make sure
It's
that we have an
difficult.
adequate space to really teach. You know, we don't want it to be sloppy and fast and not really thought of, so...
So National Repeat Day. What? Did I have something on there? Look at me. I'm causing all sorts of...
It's stuck right in your beard.
Look, it's...
It's a cute...
Oh, it's Pride Month, so I could have, like, you know...
Let me give him his close-up he deserves. This is what Jason is holding it over, everyone is wondering. He's had this pen for 12 years.
I have.
This is a phenomenal pen. I am obsessed. Toucan Sam.
So it's National Repeat Day, and you know, it's funny that it's National Repeat Day, because we repeat everything, right? And a lot of people love this movie. It is not one of my favorite movies. I get annoyed watching it, and I'm going to get a lot of throwback about this, but Groundhog Day. I'm not a huge fan of that, because he keeps repeating the day.
Yes.
You know, or Happy Death Day, when they keep repeating the day.
Same day, yeah.
I can't stand that. But I enjoy doing it, so we're repeating the day.
Right.
So, do you know that the human psyche. I did some research, you guys. I did some research before we get into the product here, and humans have this inane need to repeat.
Sure.
And I was learning all sorts of philosophical stuff. That's probably why I drop words so often, because I'm filling it full of smart, useless stuff.
Same.
And so we have the need. Actually, I love the term that they used, that we will step back into the devil's lair before we step forward into heaven's gates.
100%.
That was exactly the term, because humans have this need to repeat things. And when I say that, what I mean is our comfortability and our psyche's comfortability is in repetition. And so when they say we would rather step back with the devil than forward into heaven, they mean that we would rather go back and relive history, because we have this sense that we know how it's going to play out, than to take a step forward into the unknown. So that's why this happens.
Yes. And if you're a person who just needs it to be broken down one step further, he means like you're okay with watching the same movie over and over again because you know what's going to happen next. And a lot of people, like myself, are scared to always listen to your favorite artist's new music, because what if it's not like their old stuff and you don't like it? It's not going to make you feel comfortable.
Right.
At least if you know the song.
So
what's coming next.
Let me give you an idea of how the show is going to go, because it's slightly different. We're going to talk about statistics on repetition, and then we are in a vintage and antique store, so we are in the epitome of repetition, right? So everything in here was once new, so now it's new again, so that's repeating the thing, right? So upscale, resale, use, that's all repetitiveness. So we would rather come in here, the majority of us would rather come and buy something our mom used or our grandparents used, not just for nostalgic, but because you know how to use it.
Exactly.
And then to go and buy something brand new and use it, it tends to happen that way. So, and everything we have and do is all repetitiveness.
Yes. And every human ever is actually a piece of everybody that they've ever met in their lifetime. So, like, there's somebody out there in the world right now that knows you that might style their hair a certain way because you told them you liked it.
Right. And so I got all excited, and they'll tell you because I was silly. I got all excited as the day went on. Are people saying something?
We got good afternoon. Hi, Mom. That's your mom.
Oh, well, hello. What is this? What? So, repetitiveness is necessary for human psyche. So, I'm going to tell you one thing. Nature is not repetitive. So, no one tree looks the same. No leaf looks the same. No snowflake is the same. No raindrop is the same. No, nothing is the same. Humans are... Everything has to be the same. How many times have we... People of the 80s, come on. Cassette tapes. I should have brought some over because we have a whole huge selection.
Oh, we have a whole selection of
a whole huge selection of cassette tapes.
But it's also too, like, for example, like animals. Some animals, they're all about repetition as well because it's like bred into them to do the same thing. Like birds are like known to jump out of their nest because they got to learn how to fly. Yeah. It's just like repetition. It happens a lot
because
more often than not.
Mom did it.
100%. Also,
and so forth.
You also brought this up earlier too, and I felt like it was a very valid point. Like,
talk while I grab a cassette.
Okay, cool. So earlier, Jason was talking about how newer music, specifically rap right now, is being sampled a lot. There's a lot of older songs that are being sampled for rap songs. Like Ice Spice, she just dropped a song that's actually a sample of a Jean Paul song. So it happens literally so much. Like I remember Mac Miller got copyright infringement because he used an Earth, Wind, and Fire song and didn't get approved for it before he sampled that song. So it happens all the time, whether we like it or not. History also repeats itself when it comes to fashion and different types of fabrics and styles.
So the human mind learns on repetition.
Yep.
The more we say something, the more it gets locked into our subconscious.
Do you remember in primary school they would tell you that you need to write something down 3 times in order for your brain to remember it?
Yes.
That's why they made us write the same sentences 3
Yeah.
times.
So we have a huge selection of cassettes here. And we all love cassettes. And those of you who are my age and older, or let's say 45 and older,
Yeah.
right? Cassettes were everything. You would get okay, for instance, Don McLean. Okay. Don McLean, here we have the different cassettes. We have Beatles, we have Don McLean, Gloria Estefan, and Salt and Pepper.
That's a good one.
Okay, and Salt and Pepper. See? Who remembers them? I love it. So, Don McLean. Let's talk about Don McLean. American Pie.
It's like a 12
Madonna
minutes.
redid it.
Did she do the 12-minute version?
No. Madonna sang American Pie, got the rights to sing it, so she repeated that.
Yeah.
Because she wanted that American home good feeling.
Like, I remember, because I'm 25, I remember dressing a very specific way when I was a young teenager. Now it's called Y2K, and everybody dresses like that.
Yep, they repeat it.
And I remember when they would make fun of people, because if you remember, true Y2K style is not cute, you guys. If you guys truly remember, the young girls were wearing dresses with jeans underneath it, with a belt over it.
Grungy. Layered.
Oh, yeah, layered. They would have like 5 cami tank tops on underneath one t-shirt.
We did that with watches.
See, that's
6
like,
of them.
yeah, that's kind of cool though, because they were swatches.
They were back then. Not always.
Yeah.
So, how many of you who are my age and older had cassette tapes and would, let's say, Gloria Estefan's Miami Sound Machine, I forgot the name of the song. Of course it's not on there, too. So, let's say, oh, it's not even on this one. Anyways, so, Can't Stay Away From You. It's your favorite song. How many times you play that? You repeat it over and over and over and over again. Erasure was for me. So Olamore. Or even better yet, let's go Beach Boys Kokomo. When Beach Boys Kokomo came out, I bought the Beach Boys Kokomo cassette, and I think I destroyed it because I played it over, and it was only the one song. I played it over and over and over again. How many of you did that? Give me some hearts. Come on. What are y'all sitting there?
Heart.
Just hit hearts. Because I know some of you did it. And you, what?
Everybody's on today. My mom's on. She actually caught us in time for once.
So
David's
we would
on.
sit there because
Shirley.
we loved it so, my cousin. We loved it so much that we repeated it over and over again until we could redo each one of those words. Then it went into the drawer and we were sick of it for 5 minutes.
Yep.
Then we put it back in the cassette player and we repeated it over and over and over again. So we repeated the repeated.
Yep.
Over and over again. So, cassettes were fantastic that way. So, when we're talking about, we're going to be talking about repeating, then we're going to talk a little bit about layaway.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about layaway because kids have no idea what it is.
Which is crazy.
It is crazy. Now it's called what's it called?
Buy now, pay later.
And you get the item.
Yeah, which is crazy.
So, buy now, pay later, you get the item, and then they charge your card.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So, here's my thinking process on this. Because we're repeating. This is part of repeating. Listen. This is my thinking process. You are on this site. You see this item. Oh, good. I can pay over time. Right? So, you get the item. You make your first payment. They send you the stuff. It's set up. Right?
Yep.
Out of mind for 30 months. For 30 days.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
For a month, however long your payments are. You're on another site. Ooh, I like that too. Oh, I only have to pay that with so much a month. Buy it. You get your item. By the time you're at your 5th site, you forgot about your first one.
Literally.
You forgot about your first one. Does this ring a bell, people? Because this happened in the 80s. This happened in the 80s. But in a different context, because we did not learn from our past, and we repeated this.
And also, you weren't getting your item right then and there either.
Well, you did with this, what I'm talking about. So, what does that remind you of? So, in the and I should probably go get one, but see, I should pre-think these. In your TV guide,
Okay.
buy 10 CDs, pay for 2.
Yes.
So you send it in, you write it up, you send it in, you get your 10 CDs, You're still on the hook for those.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause you paid the 99 cents for 2.
But
Well, the rest of those are all full price, right? So now you're stuck with that because you promised to pay.
Oh, yeah, and then you don't.
And then you go on to something else and you start doing something else and I'll do this with magazines, I'll do this with this, I'll do this with that.
And I feel like those layaway companies got so fed up that they essentially started making it credit based.
Well, those weren't layaway companies. That's why buy it now, pay later is more detrimental than layaway.
Sure.
Because once you receive that item,
your payments, you're out of the...
In our minds, because we've never received an item before, we go back to the layaway. Oh, I've got the item. I don't have to pay for it.
Yeah. And
because you're 6 sites down.
And it sets a lot of people up for failure that way.
Oh yeah, big time. And so did the pay for 2 CDs and get 20.
Oh yeah.
You know, for whatever. That ruined people's credits in the 80s.
But it also is, it's a 50-50 because it could also be very good for some people. Like, I utilize...
Unfortunately, the most people who do it are not... They're young, and they don't understand it.
Yes. And but also, too, this is, another thing, too, amongst, younger people. Having debt, I, can't live with debt. It, literally will keep me awake.
That's you.
Yeah.
And there needs to be more and more people like that. But there are people who will, out of sight, out of mind. Because it's...
No, yeah, it's out of sight, out of mind, literally. Now, what you got...
Say?
Oh, I was going to say, I just utilize the buy now, pay later sites so much that, I could use it for a vacation. And that was the whole point. I wanted to utilize it so they would allow me to do whatever I wanted. You know what I'm saying?
But you paid it.
Yeah, I always paid early,
But the majority of people...
Don't.
They forget about it.
How do you forget, though?
Because you're 20 and you're off doing something else.
Touche.
Okay, so that's repeat. We're repeating ourselves. So this is what we're talking about. We are creatures of repetitiveness.
Sure.
What do I have here? Check this out. This is part of the repeat, and it could be part of the layaway.
Sure, yeah.
But this is a turn of the century Victorian bridal bouquet holder. And we are in, a lot of people get married, usually spring or fall, but summer people do get married. People do get married. Check this out, you guys. I hope you guys can see that. You seem a little furry. Fuzzy.
It's just bright how bright that light is.
I mean, look at that intricate. Now, this would sit like so on the head table, right? Look at that. Isn't that cool?
In the camera, you look perfect.
Isn't that cool?
Not bright.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So this is a Victorian bouquet holder that would sit on the head table, and when the bride it wasn't necessary for her to hold her bouquet, she would put it in here and it would store it.
Very pretty.
So what does this have to do with repeat? What do you think this has to do with repeat?
Something borrowed, something new, something
Correct.
new.
So it would probably have been passed down.
Sure.
So it becomes an heirloom. Hence, an heirloom is something that gets repeated
Okay,
through generations.
I was going to say, what's the actual terminology? Heirloom?
Like it's a pass me down, so it's an heirloom through the family.
So anything could become an heirloom if
Absolutely.
it's passed down through your family.
And a lot of times it's the dress.
Sure.
Or the garter, or something to that effect. So this is repetitiveness.
Yeah.
I want my child
to
have this.
Sure.
They want their child to have this. You're repeating that process. You're repeating that tradition.
Sure.
You're repeating that heirloom. Because we feel comfortable with that repetitiveness.
Which is...
And it's very... Sorry. It's very, very soothing and very nostalgic.
Yes.
And it makes you closer to the person who originated it.
Because usually people who... As humans... That's where our downfall is always wanting to stay in our comfortability zone, and pushing yourself out of that is going to allow you to reach so much different potential.
It is. So anything wedding-wise, I brought this over, and then I brought, this?
Yep.
And then I brought that over, because cake tops tend to be something that's passed down, heirloom-wise, and we have a whole cool collection of vintage cake toppers and wedding stuff. We should do a wedding show.
That'd be cool.
That would be fun. Although we don't carry wedding dresses here, so. But,
It's 2024. Anything could be a wedding dress.
Actually, anything should be a wedding dress.
Yeah.
I don't know if wearing white is necessary anymore. I don't know if anybody could actually wear white.
Now,
Really.
if you were to get remarried?
What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Tell us. Do you think that, and it is traditional because it's repetitiveness, it's traditional to wear white at a wedding.
Or what if you get the dress passed down? Do you feel like it's appropriate?
Well, if you can fit into it, I'd say do it. Because as we go down, the one thing that's not repetitive and that does not carry down from generation to generation are sizes.
Sure.
Because of society. You know, between food, between exercise, between just anything. Like, our sizes may not be the same.
Oh yeah, especially like vintage and antique clothings as well are also sized completely different.
Absolutely. So another form of repetitiveness would be these. Would be this. Because you see, we have the same pattern on each bowl. So we feel the need to have sets, which means this pattern repeats to this pattern, repeats to this pattern, because that's what we're ingrained in, right? The repetitiveness. So if you take a look dating all the way back to human history, everything is repeated over and over again. So it's all repeated. You've got this pattern that matches this pattern that matches this pattern. And these patterns, like this bowl, may never be used with these two bowls.
Right.
But yet we insist on having the same pattern.
Have to. It's got to match.
It's got to match because why?
Because it makes me feel comfortable.
Exactly. And it makes me feel like it's complete.
Uh-huh.
So we are not feeling we're complete unless we're repetitive.
Sure.
Isn't that weird?
It's weird.
It blows my mind, you guys.
It's weird in aspects of how do those two even like correlate with each other.
Plus, don't forget, we do specialized Pyrex.
Yeah, that thing is so cool.
Yeah.
And is it by appointment only or walk-ins?
Well, they can walk in, they're just not walking out with it.
Of course.
I mean, if it's here and they want to buy it, they can. But if you can walk in and pick what you want, but it could take a week or two for me to get it in, and then if I don't already have it in, if I already have it in, it could be 24 hours.
Right.
If I don't have it in, it can take a couple weeks to get in, and then we can do it in 24 hours. You know what I mean?
Split.
Absolutely. And those of you who follow our
Facebook and Instagram.
social medias,
Yep.
you will see some of the Halloween ones.
And it will probably also be posted on the website as well whenever we get like an actual like set in stone date for that.
Speaking of repetitive, the dress behind you. The dress behind her. You see the blue dress right there, you guys? This blue dress repeats the same pattern throughout the entire dress, and we tend to go to things that have the same patterns.
Oh yeah.
Either the same pattern or no pattern, because we want to maintain that pattern.
And uniform.
And it makes us feel better. So why a vintage store? Why an antique store? Because you can walk into at home and be wow. How many of you guys actually walked into like At Home or Macy's or give me another
Pier 1.
What, are they even around anymore?
I have no idea.
No,
IKEA.
I think they closed. IKEA, good point. You walk into an IKEA and you end up leaving buying one little tiny thing or nothing at all.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're looking at the quality, you're looking at this, and it's not making you feel comfortable.
Right, exactly.
Because, oh, how am I going to use this? And then you walk into this store and it's a big smile and you're like, oh, and you actually buy it because you have seen your parents use it. You have heard about it. You have done this, you have done that, you've done this, blah, blah, blah. It makes you feel comfortable.
It's also the hunt of finding a one-of-one item and knowing you got your hands on it.
And you're repeating that process.
Yep.
There is something that we say in this industry, in the vintage and antique industry, and it is, oh yeah, you're almost dead. And it is, ooh, we're going up and down in people. We were just like 15. Do you know any virgin? Oh, for the white dress?
Yeah?
Mm-hmm. So, we have a saying in this industry that it's funny because, and I don't know how much it would be pertain today, but when we first started with the vintage and antique, I'm always looking at, I'd look at Steve and I go, what, does one dealer buy it from another to sell it to another to sell it to another and then it ends up back in the same dealer's hands and it just rotates and rotates and rotates and rotates?
Could.
So we're repeating that process.
We 100% could.
You know what I mean?
And
that's the craziest thing.
And when we talk about, again, repeating history, we have a couple of other things that we want to tie into it as well. It's just about to break.
We're gonna half an hour.
Repetition can be so cool in such a way where it does flood your brain timeline with different things like mid-century modern or things that our parents have used. But then I also feel like we remember it being sturdy and strong and capable of being kept for a long time. And I feel like that's another reason why like mid-century modern and vintage things are becoming popular right now.
Oh, it is. Absolutely. Oh, that. Well, it's always been popular in the mid-century because that actually doesn't need to be repeated.
Right.
Because whoever made that made it right. But they do repeat it. I mean, Jonathan Adler bought up a lot of different mid-century designs and is repeating them.
Right, of course.
So how many of you go in and you're like, oh, it's a repop, it's a repop, it's a repop. Repop means repeat.
Sure.
Period. It means repeat.
I guess.
And, go ahead.
I was going to say, I guess, like, that is so true, but it's also, like, crappy in a sense because I bought a repop Baby Bratz and the paint is just horrible. The quality of the box is just horrible to what it used to be in 2002, you know? But I'm glad I got the two together.
And then because of the scarcity of that one, probably, they repopped it so that you could have that. So there are benefits to repeating and repopping. Sure. But, I mean, if you can always find the original, that's always the best because you can't go wrong with that. So what else did you have?
So I do have a little bit about ashtrays, and I also have some about eggs as well.
Why eggs?
So yesterday was National Egg Day.
That was today, wasn't it?
Yesterday.
Oh.
And I felt like it was super appropriate to repeat that because National Repeat Day was yesterday as well. So
you have a lot of repetition in these eggs. You guys will see them in a minute. You picked a lot of good repetition, so it kind of ties in both ways, right?
So did you guys know that humans were actually eating eggs for around 6 million years before it got completely discovered and was considered rational to do so?
Okay, so if you guys have never seen the movie Caveman, watch it. It's with Ringo Starr. He stars in it.
Does he?
It's from the 70s or 80s. I'm going to say 80s. Ringo Starr stars in it, and there's a great scene. And it ties in, I promise. There's a great scene in it where they come across a dinosaur egg.
Okay.
And they want to take the dinosaur egg home.
Sure.
It's a comedy, you guys. And they're pushing it and pushing it and pushing it, and it falls off a cliff and lands on a vent to the lava below.
So it's just cooking.
And the bottom shell is there. And then by the time they get down to get the egg,
it's one big scrambled egg.
No, it's not scrambled. It's a big fried egg.
Oh.
So one of the guys falls into it and gets some in his mouth and realizes it tastes good, and then they all are jumping
inside the fried egg. What a dream, honestly.
And it's called Caveman.
What a dream. I gotta watch that.
It's funny. You guys have to see it with Ringo Starr. It's hilarious.
Jungle fowl was domesticated by India in 3200 BCE.
What's a jungle fowl?
I'm assuming that's a wild chicken.
Something. What else lives there?
So like a chicken that is probably...
Peacock.
Yes, which are very scary.
They're beautiful.
Egypt and China...
And their patterns repeat.
Yeah, they sure do. And so does their behavior. Egypt and China were the first...
She must have been attacked by a peacock.
Well, you guys know that the peacocks at the zoo only attack you because people give them food.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to give them food.
Then stop giving them food and they'll stop attacking you.
Yeah, I do. But if I don't give them food, they still peck. It's scary. Egypt and China were the first to ever eat and obtain eggs, and they did that by 1400 BCE.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Ancient Romans were also first to add veggies and spices to their eggs, and Apicius was actually made name because of his baked custard in 25 BCE.
You know what else abacus is famous for?
What?
What else is called abacus?
Oh, wow, really? That's kind of cool.
Abacus is what you use to count before the calculator.
Wow, that's crazy.
So we have some eggs.
Yep.
We have some egg boxes, and look at the repetitive patterns on them. And you know, it's funny because you take a look at these egg boxes, and we're not talking Easter eggs. We're talking like these are good eggs that you would sit on your vanity, put something in, something like that. You could keep your wheat in it. Oop, it's been a half hour. So the repetitive gold pattern is always nice.
Super cute.
Something like that. But we have a ton of them, and you know, we're only talking about eggs because it's National Egg Day.
No, yeah.
But look at this. You've got the gold you've got the gold on the egg, the large egg.
Yep.
You got the gold on the bottom egg. And then you have the heart-shaped box.
I don't even know if that matches. It was all just on the same tray together.
No, it does match. You've got the heart-shaped box with the gold on it as well. And this is Limoges China.
It looks just like the 2 eggs.
Right. And Limoges China is actually a place, or Limoges China. Limoges France is actually a place in France. Kind of like, what else is it?
Paris, or...
What else is
It's
a
about-
place and not a manufacturer? Murano. Murano glass.
Where's that supposed to be?
Italy.
Okay, yes.
I love it when she remembers.
Yes, it took me a minute, guys.
Yeah.
I'm slacking
So
today.
when you see something that says Limoges, France,
Okay.
and we're repeating a lot of what we've talked about in the past. Why? Because it's National Repeat Day.
Period, yeah.
So Limoges, when you see something Limoges, it's from Limoges, France. Limoges. We get that all the time. Oh, but it's Limoges. Okay, it was made in Limoges.
Right.
But there's a lot of factories in Limoges.
A lot of them.
So Limoges is an area of France. Just like on glass, you've got Murano, and people come in and, oh, do you have Murano? Murano? Yes, we have Murano. We've got plenty of glass from the island of Murano, which is an island off the coast of Italy.
Wow.
Yep.
Eggs galore.
Look, so one of our biggest selling dinner plates, one of our biggest selling dinner patterns, and we sell the crap out of this stuff,
Like, actually the crap out of them.
has repetitive patterns on it. And so because, what is this called?
Golden butterfly.
Golden butterfly. Butterfly gold, golden butterfly. Because it was such a popular pattern that we kept repeating on different things, Pyrex picked it up.
Wow. And did they pick it up in the aspects of, like, buying it out of business?
No, they didn't buy it. Well, Pyrex had it and then Corel picked it up. They're called, Steve, help me. They're called, 112, they're talking about weather. So, I forgot what I was talking about now. Oh, they're coordinates. I remembered it. They're called coordinates.
Okay.
So, the Corel made Corel coordinates, which coordinated with Pyrex because that repetitive pattern was so popular.
And that's such a good money marketing scheme, too.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing. When you look around your house, do this for me, you guys. When you look around your house, tell me how many things are repeated. Me, without realizing it.
Yeah.
That they're repeated. Like you walk into one room and you've got 3 candlesticks over there. You walk into another room, there's 3 candlesticks over there too, and you don't realize you're doing it.
Yeah. I know people who are truly like that in real life. They'll buy something, forget they buy it, and then buy it again.
Yep.
And again and again and again.
Yep. So one of the things we get a lot of guys in here, or we got a lot of people in here, where are all your girls' toys? Where are all your girls' toys, right? And that's something I say all the time, right? So, well, girls take care of their toys, so there's a lot more of those in the world. The boys destroy their toys.
Yeah.
They play with them, they break them, they trade them, they bury them, they shoot them, they do
Literally,
whatever,
they bury
right?
'em.
So this is a boy's mentality. Or they didn't get what they wanted.
Right.
So they go from 10 to 20. Oh, I remember those toys. They're in the store buying it again.
Oh, yeah.
They're repeating it. They're buying it again.
We had a joke.
Only to take it home and play with it and break it and destroy it. And then 10 years later, oh, I want that toy back.
Toy bag, yep.
They're repeating it again. They do.
And it's so, all of these little different scenarios are all just making a bigger picture for me.
Mhm.
Because, like, I have a stuffed animal that I've had since I was an infant. And history does repeat itself because
Right.
as a grown adult, I can't sleep without it because I'm so used to that being my pillow. So it's weird how the brain tricks us into thinking that we're safer when we do something that we know.
That we know.
And I mean, again, pushing yourself out of your comfort zone is also very difficult, so I can see how that, could be taken into play, but repetition is such a crazy and interesting thing.
Everything in life is cyclical.
Yes.
Everything. Meaning that it will come back again and it will repeat itself again. That's why we get people in who are like, records are popular again? Well, of course they are, because this generation discovered them and said, or they watched their parents or grandparents play them and they're like, oh, I like that. Repeat the process over again. Records went away for a while.
Yeah.
Everybody thought, oh, they're over. CDs, online.
Now people like
streaming,
Billie Eilish has like a 25 vinyl color variant that you could get.
and not available anywhere else.
Right.
There's songs being put out on vinyl that you can't even get streaming.
So many bands
So
I
you
know
have
like
to
that.
buy it,
Yep.
right? Because that's their food. They need to eat. So, yeah, so that's coming back. So when you look at your kids and you're like, oh, wow, they like what I like, that's because they see you do it. And so they're repeating the process.
Yep. Have you ever heard the saying that until you learn your lesson with that person could either be a friend, a family member, or a partner, that until you learn your lesson with that person, you will be continued to show the same thing until you learn it. So like you could have a bad friend and then you just are continuously their friend time and time again, and they show you every reason why you shouldn't be. You're going to keep going through that lesson
Yeah.
until you really learn it and say, I don't want to
Yeah.
be a part of that anymore.
All right, so I'm going to bring something out. We're going to talk about layaways.
Cool.
Can you move that over there? I'm going to have to set it on here.
Yep. I'm actually just going to put this back because I'm feeling it's going to get knocked over.
Okay, well, tell them we're just walked away from them.
Oh, nope, I'm waiting until, so there's nobody not in front of the screen. Jason's going to grab a
They
good,
just walk away.
Jason's going to grab some goodies. I'm going to put my goodies away so they don't get broken. But I'm also going to check you guys. We do love vinyl. I have a lot of vinyl. And I think it's super interesting that certain things that were relatively made fun of are becoming popular again.
What do you think I have here?
Ooh! Speaking of vinyls.
Look at this now. It's just a box, right?
Yeah, but just
You
wait.
just see a box is all you see. So, I'm going to do a magic trick. Actually, I'm not. Because it would not be funny. So, but I am moving this stuff because this has got to be set up. All right, so why, oh why are we talking about layaway with a stereo? A phono player, a 78. This is a 78 phonograph, right? Record player. And when I say 78, I mean 78 records, size. I have them somewhere. Size 78 records. They were over there. I don't know where you put them.
I like how it's velour.
I have one. And this is, okay, so I want to show you guys this. This is a phono player.
Yes,
record player,
David.
78. What?
He's like a record player, but it's a little bit different.
Okay, so it's a crank. You have to crank it to spin it, so it's old. All right, you see it spinning here, and you see it's Grinwell, Detroit, made in Detroit. I am going to drop this because look, I have a 78, and that is a little carrier that's up here, right? Isn't that cool?
Obsessed.
I love it. So let's take a look.
5.
Oh. It was just at like double digits.
And then IG is at 1.
Well, they come and go.
We do not,
What's
we
that?
actually make and sell preserved bugs, so we wouldn't buy displays from like a pre-made one from somewhere
Sometimes,
else.
depends if it's cheap enough.
They're asking a question on IG.
We can message you afterwards. We do make a lot of our own stuff, but that doesn't mean that we won't be open to doing other things. So we're going to talk about this because this is a very special piece to me. And the reason I say that is because you do not come across Grenwell, am I saying it wrong? Grinnell, yeah. Grinnell music equipment,
Right.
let alone a phonograph, right?
That has all pieces.
Yeah, it has its needle and everything. It's a crank. But the reason I'm showing you this is because Grinnell music equipment is made in Detroit. It was a huge company down in Detroit all through the 1800s, 1900s. They did all of the instruments. They did a lot of pianos, a lot of organs, mostly organs back in that day. But a lot of organs and stuff like that. But they were made for professional use, meaning that they were for churches
Sure.
and orchestra halls and concert venues and stuff like that because they were costly back then, right?
Yeah.
So, Berry Gordy. We all know who Berry Gordy is, right?
Uh-huh.
Berry Gordy, the head of Motown
Yep.
Records, grew up in Detroit. His very first instrument was a Grinnell, right?
Okay.
Did I say it wrong again?
No.
Grinnell. So in order for his parents to buy, and I did the research on this, in order for his parents to buy him his instrument that he needed, it was too expensive.
Sure.
So, and this isn't due to Berry Gordy. This is due to innovation thinking and this is something new that was coming out.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
This innovation thinking from Grinnell put music equipment in every house. And how they did that is they created the layaway. They sold on time. So, when Berry Gordy's mom wanted to buy Berry Gordy, or dad, whoever it was, wanted to buy Berry Gordy the instrument, they would go in and put money on it until it was done. And that allowed the instruments to go into the household.
And then with this one just appeared,
It
right?
walked in one day,
Literally just appeared.
And it's just, it's stunning to me. So Motown and the music that we have today probably would not be the same if Grinnell musical equipment and Grinnell, I wish I had the paperwork for that, was still, didn't do layaways. They created that.
I wonder how many people wouldn't have certain things if it wasn't for that.
We wouldn't have the music we have today.
For sure.
Because a lot of the music equipment and the music stuff, like the phonographs, the organs, the stuff, it's been cranked, that's fine.
Oh, okay.
The organs and stuff like that, that was too expensive for the houses. So they needed a way to get them from just the church and the orchestra halls into the home to teach people how to play music.
Sure.
And so, but the thing I read about Berry Gordy I thought was just fascinating because it's such unique Detroit history. Now, Grinnell is gone. It no longer exists. It lasted forever.
So it had a good life.
Huh?
It had a good life.
It did. And I'm going to say that from what I remember, I believe the last location closed in the 80s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it lasted forever. And it had a huge footprint in Detroit. A huge footprint. Any questions?
Steve just said the Grinnell brothers.
The Grinnell brothers, yeah. So I thought it was really neat because when Steve walked in with this, I was like, oh my God, I'm taking that. I grabbed it and I threw it into the office, did I not?
Yeah, you sure
And
did.
I said, finally, we got a Grinnell. I can do the Grinnell. And as you can see here, if I tip it back, you guys, I think you can see it. Can they see it pretty good underneath?
Yes.
Okay. Grinnell, Detroit, Michigan, and it says and branches. So by the time this was sold, they had branches all over the place.
Wow, that's so cool.
But their corporate offices were downtown. And I believe the building is still there, but it doesn't say Grinnell anymore. But the Grinnell brothers are the reason that we have the music the way we have it today.
And I just like such an iconic moment for Detroit because there's so many different things that I felt like
Go on.
represented Detroit in such a unique way. And obviously we're the Motor City, but we also do have so many people who were housed here that came from that. I wonder how many people had a Grinnell that were...
Quite a bit. I mean, in the 50s, the 40s, 50s, 60s, Detroit was manufacturing capital of the world. I mean, between Grand Rapids and the furniture, between Detroit and the automakers, and then Grinnell and different companies popping up, Hudson, stuff like that. It was blue collar and white collar.
Now, would you consider a luxury, or like, would you consider this a luxury at the time of it coming out?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah?
Oh, absolutely. But what it was, and I would say it's a luxury because not a lot of people, you'd have to live close by.
Sure.
I mean, the Grinnell stores and their branches were all in cities.
Right.
And towns. So if you were rural, and you didn't have a lot of money, you're not getting down to Grinnell.
And people aren't dropping it off either.
No, they're not. So luxury, yes, and I think it was luxury. It was area.
Sure.
There was a lot of factors into why only certain people got them at the time.
Sure.
But it was based on ability more so than anything else. But you also got to remember, even if this was 5 cents to put in the layaway, 5 cents bought you groceries.
Yeah.
5 cents put gas in your car.
No, it did.
5 cents did a lot of stuff. So being able to afford it, even at that type of a thing, would be a luxury.
For sure.
you know. And a lot of people go, "Oh, come on, come on." Well, you know what? It's all relative. It's relative. It's repeating, but with different numbers.
Well, because like, what are you gonna do if you buy the Grinnell record player and then you don't have enough money to buy a record?
Right, and I believe they came with one.
Oh, that's cool.
But you may not like it.
Yeah.
Meaning something like this, but yeah, I think that it was. Do we have a comment?
Yep. Articles have been written that Detroit's musical history can be attributed to the abundance of instruments made available by the Grinnell brothers' households.
Yeah, and that's why the music is today. I don't think people realize the impact of companies like Grinnell had on our society that we know of as today. How many of us live, breathe, and function on music? Me, her, half the people in my life I know, they have to have music.
Like, you guys can't hear it, obviously, but I'm listening to a whole song in my head right now.
Those are just the voices yelling at you.
I know. And I don't know which one it is.
The good thing is that she's not yelling back. So having a Grinnell back in the day was such a... Are you pointing at me?
Yep, Steve also said at the same time Detroit Public Schools also got a visionary music director.
Oh, that's good to know.
Which, that's honestly a really cool fact, because I would really hope that when it came to extracurricular activities, that music in Motown would be one of them.
Oh, it is. It is. And, I mean, other cities were growing music at the time.
Sure.
But Detroit was the first.
Right.
You know, when it came to the musical instruments, the actual instruments behind the music.
Was Cadillac Records here?
Yeah.
So, that, I wonder if they potentially had worked with the Grinnell brothers, because...
Well, Cadillac Records, as far as I know, they could have at some point.
Like, do you think that they would, like, do you think Grinnell would sell their items out to things like that?
Oh, they could have, as time progressed. Like, maybe, Hudson's probably carried Grinnell.
Sure.
Hudson's, I'm sure Hudson's did. If you guys know, let me know. I've never stepped foot into a Hudson's, or into the Hudson's downtown. I did the malls, but it wouldn't surprise me if they sold it through other establishments.
Which would make sense, because what were their other branches? Just other places to sell?
There are other stores. But I couldn't guarantee, and I should do the research on it, but I couldn't guarantee that if you went to Hudson's and bought a Grinnell that you'd be able to put it on layaway.
Sure.
You know what I mean, at the time. But if you went to Grinnell, you could. They had a huge 5-story building downtown.
Which would make sense.
And they moved a few times.
Because they don't want a third-party customer being...
That's a 78, you guys. And for those of you who don't know, I'll grab a 40. I'll grab the
standard
3
record.
sizes. Yeah.
So, we also did have another topic, but I don't know if we're going to have time to talk about ashtrays.
Oh, well, we can do it. You can show a little bit of it.
I can just, like, also read off, too, like, what I got, because it's small.
Yeah. I kind of went off on all a tangent.
No, it's okay. See, here at Time Warp Vintage, we just let things flow. We just let it move with the pace.
All right, I got it. Sorry, I was looking at somebody outside. So, who'd I grab? The Cover Girls.
Yes.
All right, so we all know that this is a 12-inch or a regular 33, right? Will not fit on this at all. Then you have, these are the 3 record sizes. The 78s are the oldest. And, well, actually, there's larger too, but
like this is
there's
flimsy,
larger than this
and
too.
This is really? What does that mean? The songs are just longer?
That, or they're like baseball. Or,
wow.
Or stuff like this. This is a 45. So you have a 45, you have a 33, a 78, and a 45. This record player plays only this, okay? But your record player that you buy at home, that has a huge scratch on it. The record player you buy, like if you went to Best Buy and you bought a new record player, the only ones you could play is this and this on it. This would not be able to be played on because they do not have the 78 speed. So you've got your 33.5, your 78, and your 45. So as you can see, there's the fat part, and then they put the center part in it so you can play it on a standard record
That makes
player.
sense.
So, but we would probably not be, well, we probably would be knowing what all this stuff is, but we probably would not be able to. It probably wouldn't be as advanced,
Right.
if it wasn't for Grinnell.
Like,
And now everybody's repeating the records, the record players. They all have to have it.
and I have a record player that actually got passed down to me from my Aunt Sandy, and it is a General Electric. It's shaped just like this Grinnell, like a suitcase, but it has a light bulb in it.
Oh yeah.
You
Probably
can't-
an Edison.
And it gets so hot. I remember when I accidentally burned myself on it because I was trying to. You can't use the treble.
What does that say?
In the 70s and 80s, they had stores in the mall, and they had a guy sitting outside of the mall entrance of their store playing in the
Playing the organ.
Yep, last time I saw it, it was in Oakland Mall sometime in the 80s, and then someone
Who is that?
responded to that and says they did that at Macomb Mall too.
Yeah. So, see, being 25 years old, there's one thing you missed about malls that we used to love about malls in the 80s. So you had stores like Grinnell
Uh-huh.
that would sit outside and play music
Okay.
to try and draw you in. Then you would have like the sausage house. I forgot what it was called. Anyways, they would stand out with samples and they would give you sausage and cheeses. Do you guys remember that? You would go there and you would literally, there would be a lady out front. I forgot, what was it? Somebody tell me! Where you would, it was like Costco at the mall.
Sure.
You know what I mean? They were
Samples.
Yeah, but they would be like meats and cheeses and stuff, good stuff.
Yeah, I wish.
And then I mean it was such a festive time at a mall in the 80s because you had all the little punk rockers running around for, visual effect. You had all of the outfits, you had the people out there. Would you like it? C's Candy did it. C's
Wow.
Candy. They would walk out with chocolates that you could eat. So we would literally show. I was one of the little punk kids that were being looked at. And we would hit like the meat and cheeses, and then we'd go over to C's, and then we'd...
You gotta get dessert after your snack.
But it literally was like that.
Patricia said, remember the record store upstairs at Corvette's? It was on 12 and Gratiot.
Corvette sounds... No, I don't. I didn't grow up here, so...
Right.
But I can tell you, I remember the little general store at Todd's.
Todd's
was a nightclub.
Macomb Mall used to have this thing where a person would walk around and ask you if you would like to take a 3-minute survey, and if you did, they gave you like $5. Whoa. That has been happening. I swear there's a ghost in here.
It's one of these magazines.
One of them's just too heavy.
So...
LOL, Steve just commented Wiener Schnitzel.
Well, Wiener Schnitzel was the one that had the hot dog on a stick.
Okay.
Or Orange Julius had hot dog on a stick.
Orange Julius, oh my goodness.
Wiener Schnitzel would do but it was also a gift basket place.
What?
That sold the meats and cheeses too.
Like jellies and jams and stuff too?
Yeah, that type of stuff. But then the candle shops, they would have open candles. They would like smell.
Oh my goodness.
The major department stores would all have their spritzing people out
Yep.
there trying, and it was all right at the entrance as you walked in.
Wow, that's crazy.
It was festive. And I got to tell you, so I lived in the mall in the 80s, right? And then when my mom would have to go shopping and we'd have to go to the mall, I love the way she shopped because she would literally walk in the door, into the shop, out the door, back out.
Uh-huh.
There's no going to all these different stores just to look.
Right.
And that's how I shop now.
And because it's frustrating, it gets hot, I get overstimulated, and I'm ready to go.
Oh, you'd get overstimulated in the 80s at the mall. You absolutely would, especially if there was a playland.
Oh, God, yes.
So
The
it was
sound,
nuts.
the music, the kids screaming. Hickory Farms.
Hickory Farms, thank you. I couldn't remember the name. That's exactly who it was.
They
Who
do.
said that?
Steve.
Give them a prize.
They do have something like that up in Birch Run. They have the Pepperidge Farm where you can go and get all of it for the lows.
Yeah, but you have to go get it.
Yeah.
They walked out and gave it to you.
Yeah, no,
There
it's
you go.
crazy.
Yep.
Wow, what a time to be alive, eh?
It was fun. It was fun, and then and if we were still hungry, we'd just go to the phone booth and check the money.
Yep.
So, or we'd just be silly. The malls were fun. See?
Yeah.
I'm repeating what happened back in the day because it's nostalgic, it's fun, and people always ask me, what do you regret in life?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Because everything.
Would I do something different?
Maybe.
I'm sure I would, but I don't regret what I did because what I did in life makes me who I am today.
Exact, and it got you this far.
Would I repeat most of it? Probably not. But I probably would because I'm human without realizing it.
Look, I think the only thing I would say I would do is I would probably go back to a couple of scenarios and say something different that I thought of 20
Oh,
minutes
honey,
after
let's
the
have
fact.
this conversation when you're 53. Because saying something, fixing something that you said is
Yeah.
far less.
David said, he's like, unfortunately, the malls are dying, which is very true. If you guys know the super sad story that's happening with Lakeside, that's actually happening right now. It happened 5 days ago. They started the renovation for tearing down Lakeside Mall, yeah. And
They're going to turn it into, like...
a literal, like,
So,
compound.
do you know the area of 12 Mile and DeQuinder?
Yep.
You know that used to be a mall.
Really?
Yeah,
Well,
it was called... Somebody tell me, 12 Mile and DeQuinder, was it Universal? Might have been Universal Mall. But it was a big mall. And they did
Wow.
the same thing. They tore it down, they put Target in, they put... That whole corner was a
oh
mall.
my goodness.
Mhm.
And it's just like, you know,
Was it called Universal?
online
Yeah.
shopping is like, I feel like such a nuisance nowadays.
Hmm.
We have no comments yet
Okay.
back about the question. I like touching things, seeing things, trying things on. You know, I
At
don't.
25. Yes.
Because does anybody else have you
I
ever
actually
ordered?
hear that from kids.
Well, yeah. Because have you ever ordered something online and then you just decided to take the L and not even return it because returning it online is literally so much hassle?
How stressed out did I get about buttons today?
Oh,
Not being able to
gosh.
see it first.
And that
And that was 25 cents.
And I was trying to stress to him like they wouldn't do that.
And I'm like, I want to see it first.
Oakland Mall is still there.
It is. Actually, Oakland Mall, you should go there because it's actually a startup mall. You know that, right?
Really?
The new owners turned it into a startup mall. There are selfie centers everywhere.
Oh, wow.
All of the most of the stores, not all, most of the stores are all small business startups.
Wow.
Yep. The
That's
guy who
pretty
bought it
cool.
wants to turn it into a change the aspect of how we
Sure.
look at malls.
For sure.
And stuff. You know, it's all repeated because there's going to come a time when people are going to want malls.
Yeah.
And they're all going to be turned into these. They're all going to be turned into hotels. They're all going to be turned into communal centers.
You know what I found out? Why the mall is called the mall?
Why?
Because you don't go to one store, you go to the
The
mall.
Yeah.
When I found that out, I was flabbergasted for like a good 20 minutes. I
So
was
they
like,
took
wow.
off the THE.
No, literally.
Mall.
The mall.
But just like I tell people about China, we don't look at China, we don't buy China, we don't buy high-end China, stuff like that. But there'll come a day when it's popular again.
Yeah.
And they're going to go have to pick it out of the fake flowers that they're made out of, or the broken up and made into
Something else.
designs. Because there will come a time, because there's coming a time now that people want Victorian furniture.
Literally.
And we've been being asked for the waterfall, the Victorian, the very ornate, very crazy. You know, we're going to repeat that look again, hopefully with some alterations. And there are things we shouldn't repeat, like a mullet. Stop it. And, stop it! Mullets.
If you have a curly
I'm without
mullet,
words
I
because
like,
she just said she likes them.
I like curly mullets.
Oh my god.
That's all good.
Do you know what we used to, and no, I'm not going to say how much fun we used to make of people with mullets, because I had a 2-foot mohawk and carried a purse, so I don't know how much better I actually was.
Jason, you're so freaking funny. Oh my goodness.
Anyways, so that's repeat.
Oh gosh, I liked this show.
I thought it
hope
was
you guys
fun.
liked it too. Honestly, we were gonna try to just toss in a clip that was a repeat of like 2 years
We
ago.
wanted to start it and go, hi, this is Jason with Repeat Show, Jason and Jazz from the Repeat Show, and then have it repeat it. But we couldn't figure out how to do that. So anyways, but go ahead and give them our spiel.
So if you guys are new here, this will be available to rewatch right when we end, but it'll also be uploaded to YouTube tomorrow morning. This is also live streaming on anywhere that Time Warp Vintage is affiliated, so you guys can see it on multiple platforms. If you guys liked this show, we hope that you like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have a topic for next week, make sure you let us know, because maybe we might cover it.
Also, keep an eye out for Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen on Monday mornings from 10 to 11. You will see me.
Yep.
I come in at the end and do the giveaway. So, plus her show is fantastic. So you have to watch it. It's got some cool things going on. And I would tell you a guess, but it completely left my head.
And that's okay, because you just got
So
to
now
tune
you
in
have
and
to watch
see
to
what
see.
it is.
What else? All the good fun stuff coming.
Heck yeah, Time Warp Vintage is getting better and better every single week, and we hope you guys are here to experience it with us.
Absolutely.
So, until next time.
Night.
Yeah, until next time.
Until next time.
Bye, guys.
Have a great night.